Hey everyone, I'm Xonani. Welcome to my new video. Right now I'm very blocked, and the reason is I'm struggling hard to decide which sketchbook I will use after my beloved old filled up Artcreation sketchbook. Perhaps it seems like a ridiculous problem, but for me it is extremely blocking my art flow. Normally, I'm sketching and painting almost every day. My sketchbook comes with me everywhere I go, and I'm missing it so bad. The reason why I have no new one yet is because of the following reasons. I have these sketchbooks here to choose from. Here is my old Artcreation sketchbook from Talens. This is my third one, and I like that I can feel free with the Artcreation sketchbooks, and they are, I call it everything goes sketchbooks. I like to do full rendered artworks in them, and I also can sketch very rough in them without feeling bad. Sketch little thumbnails in here and make swatching pages. So I could use the same again. I have another new Artcreation here, but it's very big. It's A4. I don't want to buy another A5 Artcreation because it's my comfort zone right now. Then I have to buy something new again. I want to use what I have here and try something new. So this one is out of the game. And to be honest, I really wanted to try out something new. I'm sorry. A different kind of sketchbook. I have so many sketchbooks here, which I haven't touched since I have them. Then I have this wonderful vintage looking sketchbook from Clairfontaine in this super interesting format. I wanted to use this one and also started it, but I tried all my medias on this page, and my go-to medias like watercolor and colored pencils, which I use all the time, work horrible on this paper. This paper is good for markers, not all markers. Also alcohol markers look very nice in here. Liners, but not all liners. A few liners bleed a bit too much on this paper. Ballpoint pens are very good and stuff like that, which I rarely use. I want to use them more, but for my everyday sketchbook, it has to handle watercolor and colored pencils as well. Then I have this one, Stillman and Birn mixed media. I started it January 2024. And I don't know, I didn't get warm with it. Then I used it again and made this spread. And I fell in love with it. I enjoyed it so much. But the problem is, now I'm too precious with it. I can't imagine to sketch ugly little sketches and thumbnails in it. I want it for the good stuff. It also has not a lot of pages, so this one can sadly be my everything goes everyday sketchbook. Then this one from Arrtx. The paper feels quite nice. It's mixed media paper. I still have to test a few mediums on this paper. This one is on my shortlist because I'm not too precious with this one. We will come to it later in this video again. The only thing right now I don't like is how this book is bound. The first third of the pages of the sketchbooks will be uncomfortable to work on, so the left pages are a bit annoying at first. I need a solution for this, but it has the perfect size. Also my next candidate, this is one I considered to make a whole video about. This is a very special sketchbook. It is the Onion Skin Journal. I'm waiting for so long to try this out and look at it. It's beautiful. It's hand bound and comes in this lovely bag because it is handmade. It's the most expensive sketchbook I ever had. It comes from this lovely company in the US and it has this unique, so wonderful, thin, transparent paper. That's why it comes with a ruled paper sheet, which I probably won't use. I started a video for you, me starting this special wonderful sketchbook. I tested a lot of medias in here on this spread and then I realized the cam didn't record. I will also come to this sketchbook later in this video again, but first listen to the sound of this paper. This is so wonderful, this is amazing. I used inks in here, for example, and I glued pressed flowers in and fixed it with a layer of matte medium. This worked pretty good. I have to explore this a lot more. It could become my everyday sketchbook because although it was so expensive and it's so special for me, I'm surprisingly not too precious with it. It feels like I want to experiment in it and I want to explore it in a very loose way. We will do this together. Hopefully after this video I will have an everything goes sketchbook again. We will see. I'm starting with this one. I already tried watercolor in it and sadly it didn't work so good. So what I want to do first is using this nice backside, which came through from the other test illustration on the other side. Special about this sketchbook is at first the transparency of this paper. I want to use it for my art to come to more complex ideas and concepts. But first I have to experiment with it on a few more pages to get a feeling for it. So I wanted to use a white acrylic marker on this dark background and let it flow. Acrylic markers work very nice in here. Also ink is very good. But you have to be careful with the inks. If you use too much, it will bleed a bit through this paper. This happened to this page a bit. What I'm doing here is just an experiment. I don't want to create a masterpiece here. I just having fun with the medias and possibilities. I don't know why, but what I said before, I don't feel precious at all in this book. It is great. I feel so free and loose in here. Colored pencils work not the best on this paper, I have to say. Only the very soft ones work fine. But crayons like the Caran Neocolor 2 or my lipstick crayons, which are like the tempera sticks, work wonderful on this paper. Here I'm using the flowers from the backside, from the last page. Also for this picture, this transparent paper gives a lot more possibilities to make art. I'm really enjoying this sketchbook. I also wanted to test gouache in here, so I tried to sketch with my Colorase pencil. You can see it on this paper, but it's not perfect for these pencils. I'm using the Micello Titanium White Gouache for this page. It felt a bit strange on this very smooth and shiny paper. What is generally good for gouache, but yeah, it felt strange, but it works fine then. The paper gets very wavy very fast. I think this is the special charm of this paper. It wrinkles a lot, so it looks similar to what it sounds like, I think. The paper has a very unique character. I saw other artists using these sketchbooks. First time I was interested in these books was when I saw Sophie McPike using it. I had to test it out as well. I love new and unique, inspiring supplies like this. This opens my mind a bit more and forces me out of my comfort zone. Speaking about comfort zone, will this sketchbook be my new everyday sketchbook? Probably not, I guess. There are some pros, like I can feel free and loose in here. I love to experiment with it. I'm not too precious with it. But there are a few cons too, like I can't use watercolors in here. And if I make little rendered illustrations, it's hard to scan them in to make prints and stickers out of them, because this paper is so wavy and wrinkly, it won't look good. And this is what my everyday sketchbook also have to be, a good background for future stickers or printable stuff. If something good happens in my sketchbooks on a page, I want to be able to use it. So this onion skin journal will also stay a beside sketchbook, like my Stillman and Birn one, and also my Etchr watercolor sketchbook, which I haven't shown you in the beginning of this video. This is also a side sketchbook for a year now, and I love it a lot, but not for everything. I'm also too precious with it. Yes, I know, I should just use my good paper more freely. I have learned to use all my other expensive supplies like special paints, pencils, and all of these things very freely. I use them every time, also in my sketchbooks. I'm never too precious to use them, like my expensive QOR paints, for example. This is good, but I don't know, it's a different thing for me with my sketchbooks. It would feel like a waste to sketch messy little idea thumbnails in my Etchr Lab sketchbook. It would feel wrong, I don't know. This is why it's so hard to find my new feel-good everyday sketchbook. So back to the onion skin journal. My gouache worked quite good in here, and on top a bit of colored pencils. Look at the back side. This brings me to another idea. Oh, I tested here also alcohol markers, and they failed on this paper. By the way, it made kind of a puddle on the back side. Okay, if you don't care about it, you could use alcohol markers, I think, in the sketchbook. I thought about using the transparency again and sketched a few fast tentacles behind her head with watercolor pencils, so I can have the back side as a sketchy front side, and my first gouache front side artwork became a tentacle back side. What also looks very cool, I think. Think about the possibilities. I definitely will make a video about this sketchbook again, using exactly this pro point of this transparent paper. I have several ideas yet. Then I have to test this Arrtx sketchbook a bit more. I want to know what medias I can use, except for acrylic markers, which I already tested in here and they work good. I'm starting with colored pencils. They feel wonderful on this paper. Then the other very important medium, watercolor. It feels very good. It's obviously no watercolor paper, but for sketching with watercolors and creating nice little pieces, the paper is good enough and it works quite nice. I'm really happy with the watercolor test. I also tested aqua markers, ink markers, ink, felt markers, of course acrylic markers, watercolor pencils, watercolor pencils, all kinds of liners and black markers, which, by the way, don't bleed on this paper at all. Also crayons and Neocolor 2, gouache, and all my used medias. And they all work good. Only pure ink does not look so good on this paper. It destroys the paper surface a bit and it's blotchy in a way, but this is okay for me. It doesn't bleed through completely and I don't use them very often in my daily art practice, so I'm totally okay with it. I have to make the final test in a little artwork here with my favorite supplies, watercolors and colored pencils. Sketching with my Colorase pencil is a pure joy. The paper has a very fine texture, it's almost smooth. I used my Kuretake Tambi paints here and they worked wonderful. Okay, the paper gets wavy a lot, but I don't care so much about it. The paper is similar from the surface to the Ohuhu mixed media paper, but it's a bit thinner and not as good, but it reminds me on it. If I would had a normal, not ring-bound mixed media sketchbook from Ohuhu, I have a ring-bound one, I would use it immediately as my everyday sketchbook, I have to say. Then the struggle would be over and I could be happy again, but I have not. I don't want a ring-bound sketchbook for my everyday sketchbook. I know I'm picky as beep. So painting on this paper is fun. Going on top with colored pencils is also fun. I have to say this sketchbook could be the winner. I could arrange myself with the strange binding of this book. I could use it. It feels okay for me and my needs. The only thing I'm still not sure about is that the pages are glued in like in a note block. You can easily rip these pages out a bit too easily. This could be a pro if I'm painting only on the right pages and someone wants to buy an artwork. I can easily rip it out and sell it, frame it if I like, or I can rip pages out for notes, or if I don't like the page at all, I can rip it out. But this also means that I couldn't go over both sketchbook pages very easy to fill a whole spread. And I really like to fill full spreads. I always would have to fear about that the pages accidentally rip out, and this would be a bummer for me. I have to think about this, but all in all, this could be the one with reservations. I don't know why I'm so picky with my sketchbooks and why it's so hard for me to make compromises. I really want to use one of these sketchbooks, the sketchbooks I already have here, and use them up, try them all out, and perhaps stay with one brand someday. Although I already have a brand I really like, I want to explore more sketchbooks, and always using the same can be boring after a while. Also for my neurodivergent brain. But if I want to use something new, I have to make compromises as well. Please tell me if you can relate my struggle here, and if you have similar stories to share. This would be nice to read, and I don't feel like a complete weirdo anymore. Thank you so much. And it was also helpful for me to share this whole topic in a video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for your support. Also a big thank you to my patrons. You are amazing. Then have an awesome week, my friends. See you next time. Yours Tsunani.